Just a quick note before we start. I really want to improve my audience retention. If you think, hey, this is pretty good, give it a like and subscribe. If you're more like, not quite, then drop me a comment and let me know what didn't work. All right, let's get into it. The rain hat. I moved to Seattle last spring for work. Marketing gig at a tech firm, mostly remote. But I liked the idea of living somewhere with real seasons. Rain didn't bother me. Actually, I liked it. Felt clean, focused. Everything felt quieter. That's probably why I noticed the hat. It was my second week in the city. Walking home from the coffee shop, I passed this quiet corner where the sidewalk kind of narrows around an old oak. That's where I saw it. Black fedora, a little bent at the rim, soaked from the drizzle. Just sitting there like someone had set it down and forgotten. Didn't think much of it. Until the next day, walking to the pharmacy, I saw the same hat. 2 blocks over, on a bus bench this time. Same bend, same soaked look. I thought maybe someone was just moving it around for fun. Urban art project or something. Whatever. But then it happened again. Rainy Tuesday, hat was on the corner mailbox outside my apartment. Friday, it was leaning against a lamppost near Pike Place. Always alone, always wet, always a little darker than it should have been. I started joking about it with friends. Hat guy's making his rounds, I'd say. Even took a couple photos, made a dumb little Instagram reel. Then I touched it. It was a Sunday night, pouring like crazy. I'd had a long day, groceries were soaked through, and there it was, just outside my building door, perched like it was waiting. I don't know why, but I reached out, picked it up. It was warm. Not room temp. Actually warm. Like someone had been wearing it just moments before. I brought it inside, tossed it on the counter, forgot about it. That night, I had a dream. Except it wasn't mine. I was in some old diner, 1950s style, formica tables, a jukebox, humming low. Sitting across from a girl in a green dress, red lipstick, laughing about something I couldn't hear. My hands were clasped over hers. I could feel the warmth, the pulse. I woke up crying. Next night, it happened again. Different place. Rainy street, dark suit, standing under a flickering neon sign. Watching someone walk away. My chest hurt like I'd lost something I never had. Every night, new pieces. Always the same feeling. Sadness, regret, waiting. I started writing them down. Details, names, places. Some matched up with old directories I found online. Coffee shops that closed in the 70s. Addresses that hadn't existed in decades. Then the dreams got closer. I saw my apartment, my street. Same girl in the green dress, older now. Same voice. And I knew, somehow, that she had worn that hat once. Or maybe she had given it to someone. One morning I woke up, and the hat was on my nightstand. I hadn't moved it. I tried throwing it out, left it in the dumpster. It was back the next morning on the kitchen chair. Last week, I gave up and wore it. Just once. And I swear, for 5 whole minutes, I felt someone else standing inside my skin. Not like a possession, just like I was borrowing someone's sorrow. And in that moment, I knew something. The hat wasn't just showing me memories. It was looking for someone, and it thought I might be her. Since then, it hasn't moved. Just sits by the door. Dry now, somehow. Waiting. And every time it rains in Seattle, I wonder if I should put it back outside. But I don't, because part of me wants to know how the story ends. The right-hand count. It started on a Wednesday night in Columbus, Ohio. Nothing special about the day. Worked my shift, microwaved leftovers, watched some reruns. Same routine. But when I crawled into bed and pulled the covers up, Something weird happened. My right hand twitched. Not like a cramp or anything. Just a single movement. My index finger lifted slightly, then tapped against the sheet. Once, I figured it was nerves. I'd had too much coffee. Ignored it. Next night, same thing. Only now, it was 2 fingers. Tap. Tap. Still didn't really freak me out. I joked to myself that maybe my body was doing its own bedtime countdown. By night 4, though, it wasn't funny anymore. 4 fingers, one after the other, like counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wasn't moving them. I tested it, held my right arm with my left, kept it still. Didn't matter. The fingers moved on their own, slow and deliberate. I even recorded it, played it back the next morning. Sure enough, you can see it. Tap, 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 tap. I tried everything, sleeping on my arm, wearing a glove, even wrapped it in an ace bandage one night. Still happened. By night 6, it was a ritual. I'd lie down, heart already pounding. Wait for the fingers, watch them rise and fall in sequence. Every night, one more. By then, I'd stopped sleeping well. I kept checking the closet, the windows, the hallway light. It wasn't just the hand anymore. I felt watched. On the 7th night, I fell asleep with the lights on. Didn't help. Woke up gasping at 3:17 a.m., soaked in sweat. My right hand was pressed flat against the wall next to my bed. All 5 fingers splayed, like it was reaching. Night 8, I made my roommate Josh stay in the room. He didn't see anything weird until the count started. He watched my hand lift, 1 finger at a time, all the way up to 8. He left the room, didn't say a word, slept on the couch after that. Night 9, the tapping was stronger. It actually shook the bed frame a little. My arm moved without me, up and down, like it was knocking on something that wasn't there. And then came night 10. I didn't sleep. I waited. At 2:59, I was already lying there, hand uncovered, watching. At exactly 3 a.m., the count started. 1, 2, 3. I whispered, "Please stop." 4, 5, 6. My fingers were stiff, cold, like they didn't belong to me. 7, 8, 9. I held my breath. 10. And then something grabbed back. No sound, no movement in the room, just pressure. Firm ice, cold. Like another hand, fingers wrapping around mine. I yanked my arm away, hit the floor, crawled out of the room. Didn't go back in till sunrise. Nothing there. No footprints, no sign anyone had been in. But my hand felt wrong all day. Like it remembered something I didn't. I wear gloves to bed now. And every night, I count backwards. Just in case it's trying to start again. The low battery steps. I was staying at a roadside motel off Highway 95 in Nevada. Not by choice, my car overheated about 20 miles north, and the next shop that wasn't a gas station was in Tonopah. Towed it, got a room for the night while the guy at the garage ordered parts. It was one of those half-renovated places where the bedspread looks new, but the walls still smell like smoke. Whatever. I was too tired to care. First night, around 1:30 a.m., I heard footsteps above me. Not creaks, not mice. Actual footsteps. Steady, deliberate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then pause. Then again. It sounded like someone pacing slowly, right above my bed. I figured maybe there was a second floor I didn't notice. Next morning, I asked the front desk guy, this half-asleep dude named Gary, if anyone was above me. He raised an eyebrow. There's no second floor. Roof's flat, HVAC, and pigeons. That's it. Okay, I said. Maybe it was someone walking around outside. Gary just shrugged. Not unless they were Spider-Man. Second night, same time, 1:30. Footsteps again, same rhythm. This time I stood on the bed and pressed my hand against the ceiling. It was faint, but I could feel the vibration. Directly overhead. Like someone was walking slowly, just inches above the drywall. Third night, I recorded it. Played it back the next day. Footsteps. Clear as anything. Then a pause, then again. But the weird part, every cycle, the steps got slightly slower, like a metronome winding down. Tick, tick, tick. By the fifth round, the delay between steps was almost a full second longer than when it started. Fourth night, it didn't start until 2 a.m. Then it picked up again. Same number of steps, same path, but even slower now. Like whatever was up there was running low on juice. I went back to Gary, played him the audio. He stared at the phone for a while, then said, "You ever see room 12? I hadn't. It was 2 doors down from mine. He led me over, unlocked it. Inside was stripped bare. No bed, no carpet. Just a hatch in the ceiling, barely latched. Maintenance guys used to store junk up there. We stopped bothering with it after the last leak. No one's been in for years." I climbed up. Dust everywhere. Old fan blades, cardboard boxes, and something else. Tracks, not footprints. Grooves. Like something had been dragging or pacing the same path again and again, wearing down the wood. There were marks on the wall too. Little dashes, like tallies. Some faded, some fresh. I took a photo. That night, the footsteps didn't come. But at 3:17 a.m., I woke up anyway. Because something tapped the glass of my motel window. 4 times. Then paused. Then again. Slower, like a dead battery trying one last time to be heard. I checked out before sunrise. The mechanic hadn't even opened yet. I don't care. I'll call him from the next town. I just didn't want to wait long enough to hear the knocking stop entirely. The Post-it Room. I stayed in this Airbnb in Charleston, South Carolina, for a quick work trip. Just 3 nights. Cute little bungalow, a block from the water. Had good reviews, decent photos, looked like a normal place. First thing I noticed when I walked in was the smell, kind of citrusy, but sharp. Like someone had just finished cleaning. Fine. Better than musty. Second thing? The walls. Every room had these weird, faded squares. All over. Hundreds of them. Some small, some big. Like someone had taped or stuck paper to the walls and then ripped them off. You could see the outline where the paint was newer. Or maybe where the grime hadn't settled in yet. It was especially bad in the bedroom. I dropped my bag and just stood there. The walls looked like they'd been covered in Post-it notes. Floor to ceiling. Random spots. No real pattern. But all removed. Except one. Right next to the light switch, there was a single yellow note. Faded handwriting in blue ink. Don't forget. That was it. No signature, no date, no context. I figured the host had missed it during cleaning. I left it alone. First night was fine. Ordered takeout, watched a movie, went to bed around 11. Around 3 a.m., I woke up. No noise, no nightmare, just this weird tight feeling in my chest. Like I was being watched. I looked around. The room was dark, but that note caught the light from the street lamp outside. Just faintly glowing yellow. I got up and took it down. Didn't sleep much after that. Next morning I noticed something else. Every place where those Post-its had been, I could feel them. Not physically, but like a presence. Little cold spots. Weird tension. Like I shouldn't stand too long in front of them. That night, it got worse. I was brushing my teeth when I caught movement in the mirror. Just a flicker. Like someone stepping out of frame. I turned. Nothing. But I saw where the flicker had come from. One of the bare squares near the bathroom door. I don't know how else to say this, but those spots, they were watching me. Not metaphorically. Not, I felt creeped out. I mean actually watching. Like pressure. Focused attention. Eyes that didn't blink. I barely slept the second night. Final day, I worked from a coffee shop just to stay out of the house. Thought about checking out early, but the place wasn't refundable, and I told myself I was being dramatic. That night, I taped a towel over the wall next to the bed. Didn't help. I woke up to the towel on the floor, and the feeling that someone was standing right next to the mattress, breathing slow and deep. I didn't open my eyes. Just laid there, holding my breath until morning. When I finally checked out, I wrote a quick note to the host. Just said, "Thanks for the stay." Noticed some leftover adhesive marks. Figured you'd want to know. He replied 5 minutes later. "Oh, they came back again? I thought they were gone." I didn't write back, but now, back home, every once in a while, I catch a glimpse of a faint square on my bedroom wall. Like a post-it had been there once. And some nights, I wake up at 3 a.m., feeling like I forgot something, or someone's reminding me. The still dryer. I was crashing at my cousin's place for a week up in Rochester, Minnesota. She was cool with it, but her apartment didn't have a washer and dryer, so she sent me to this coin laundromat just off the highway. Kind of on the edge of town, next to a shut-down diner and a vape shop that looked like it hadn't been open in months. Place was mostly empty when I got there. A couple of old-timers chatting in the corner. Machines humming. The usual warm detergent smell. I loaded up a washer, grabbed a soda from the vending machine, and sat down to scroll my phone. That's when I noticed the one machine that didn't move. Back row. Dryer number 17. Front load, chrome door. Clean, but just still. Not off. Lights were on. It buzzed every few minutes, like it was trying to remind someone it was done. But the drum never spun. Didn't think much of it at first, until I stood up to change loads and passed in front of it. The chrome door, super reflective, caught my eye. There was a face, not mine. Not anyone behind me. Just a face. Brief. Barely there, but it looked like someone was standing inside the machine, right up against the glass, staring back. Blank eyes, like a mannequin, but not. I spun around. No one there. I waited a second, then stepped in front of it again. Nothing. Thought maybe I was seeing things. Bad sleep, whatever. Went back to my seat. Kept watching. Every time someone walked by dryer number 17, they'd glance at it. Just for a split second. Like something caught their attention. No one said anything, though. Next day, I came back. Had another load to do. Same dryer. Still not spinning. Still buzzing occasionally. So I took out my phone and decided to record it. I figured maybe there was a trick with the reflection or light. Just wanted to prove to myself I was being dumb. Recorded about 10 seconds, played it back. And in the video, the drum was spinning. Slowly. Real slow. But it was definitely moving. And right as it passed the front of the door, that same face showed up again. Except this time, it looked like it was moving too. Mouth slightly open. Eyes tracking something. I froze. I looked at the machine again. Still. Not turning. Still buzzing. Back to the video. Still spinning. I deleted it. I don't know why. Reflex, maybe. Felt like I'd recorded something I wasn't supposed to. Third time I went back, I asked the guy behind the counter if dryer number 17 was broken. He just stared at me and said, "People leave it alone. Doesn't take quarters. We've had it checked. Nothing wrong with it. But no one can fix it either." "So it just sits there?" He nodded. "Sometimes folks hear it running, though. When no one's around." I didn't say anything else, but on my last day in town, I went back one more time. Just to see. It was nighttime. The laundromat was empty. I walked straight up to the dryer. Stared into the glass. Nothing. Then I lifted my phone and snapped a photo. Face. Same one. But this time, pressed up hard against the inside, as if it was trying to push through. And behind it, more faces. Dozens. All faint. All blurred. Like they were stuck behind the drum. I backed out. Left my clothes. Got in the car and drove until I hit the city line. I've never done laundry alone at night since. Because sometimes when I pass a dryer, even a regular one, I swear I hear buzzing. And something inside trying to turn. The blinking interval. I used to live on this quiet street in Concord, New Hampshire, just a short walk from downtown. Mostly older homes, big trees, one-way traffic. Peaceful, but with enough people passing through that it never felt isolated. There was this one streetlight at the corner of Warren and Pine. Not special or anything, just your standard metal pole and orange bulb, except it blinked every 3.2 seconds. I timed it. Repeatedly. With my watch, with my phone. I even made a game of it. Walk past it and see if I could hit the blink perfectly. I got good at it. I figured it was a glitch. Maybe old wiring. Faulty ballast. But it never changed. Always 3.2 seconds. Night after night. Until it didn't. It was a Thursday. Cold. I remember that because I had my hands in my pockets, walking back from the store with a six-pack tucked under my arm. I rounded the corner and noticed the light felt off, so I stopped and watched, and timed it. 3.3 seconds. Not a huge difference, but I noticed. My brain noticed. It was like hearing your own name in a crowd. You don't know why, but something snaps to attention. Then the weirdest thing happened. As the light blinked, a guy across the street, jogger, earbuds in, stopped mid-stride and looked over his shoulder. Not at me, not at the light, just back, like he heard something behind him. Then two more people, woman with a dog, delivery dude on a bike, both turned their heads at the same time. Same direction. I didn't see anything, but that 0.1 second change, it felt like a ripple. Like the timing had shifted just enough to let something in. The next night, the light was back to normal. 3.2 seconds. I checked. But now I couldn't stop watching it. I'd sit on my porch with a beer and just stare. Tick, blink, tick, blink. It became this weird comfort, like a metronome keeping my brain from wandering. Until 3 nights later, when it happened again. 3.3 seconds. And right as the light flickered, my neighbor across the street, retired guy named Louis, stepped out of his house and stood completely still, facing the sidewalk, not moving, not blinking. Then, slowly, he turned around, looked right at the hedge behind his fence. I followed his gaze. Nothing there. But I swear, the dog next door started barking its head off. I tried talking to Louis the next day, asked if he saw anything weird. He just kind of laughed and said, "Must be the cold messing with my brain." But after that, I started noticing something else. Every time the interval shifted, even by a fraction, someone on the block would turn around, look behind them, always behind. I started recording it, used an app to log the flashes. The data showed what I already felt. Something changed in the pattern every few nights. Just a tenth of a second. Just long enough. And every time, people reacted. Even cars slowed down. Street cats froze. Once, I saw a kid on a skateboard take off, running full speed like something spooked him. Last time it happened, I was watching from my window. 3.3 seconds. And this time, no one turned. Except the light. It didn't blink. It tilted, just slightly, like it was leaning toward me. I don't live on that street anymore. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I count seconds. And if I ever hit 3.3, I don't turn around. The stopped escalator. I used to work security at a mall just outside Atlanta, Georgia. Graveyard shift. Midnight to 8 a.m. Not glamorous, but it paid all right, and most nights were dead quiet. Only real excitement came from cleaning crews, and the occasional delivery guy, showing up too early. The mall had 3 levels. One main escalator, set in the center, another pair in the back corner that hardly anyone used. That's where it started. Escalator B3. Always broken. No one ever fixed it. Management claimed it wasn't worth the cost since foot traffic back there was so low. So it just sat there. Still dusty, with a little sign at the bottom that read, "Out of service." One night, I was cycling through camera feeds, half asleep, when I noticed something weird. Camera 24 angled on B3 caught motion. Not a glitch. Not a lighting flicker. A person. Walking up the escalator. Slow. Steady. Same speed like the stairs were moving even though they weren't. Looked like a man, wearing a brown jacket, jeans, old sneakers. Kinda hunched. Thing is, I saw this at 3:42 a.m. No one was supposed to be in the building. I radioed my partner Jenkins and headed that way. By the time I got there, escalator was empty. No one on the floor. I even checked the bathrooms nearby. Nothing. Back at the office, I rewound the tape. The figure was gone. Like, not walked off camera, gone. Erased. Just empty stairs again. Next few nights, I kept an eye on that feed. Same time. 3:42 a.m. Same guy. Same clothes. Same pace. Always ascending, but never reaching the top. The camera blinked. Tiny moment of static, and when it cleared, the stairs were empty. I saved the clip, showed it to Jenkins. He didn't blink. Just said, "You know they built this place over an old textile factory, right?" I didn't. He shrugged. Place burned down. Some workers never made it out. I thought he was messing with me. Urban legend junk. But then, I started looking into it. Found an article from 1986. Fire at the Clifton Threadworks plant. 5 confirmed dead. 1 missing. Thomas Rayner. 31. Last seen wearing, you guessed it, a brown jacket and jeans. The factory stood almost exactly where our mall's south wing sits now, right where B3 was installed. After that, I started documenting every incident, kept a notebook. Jenkins thought I was losing it, but he stopped making jokes once he saw the guy too. The real kicker? We brought it to the mall office, asked to pull archived footage. The feed from camera 24 didn't exist. They told us the camera was disconnected last year, but we saw it, night after night, until my last shift. Same time, same guy. Only this time, the escalator wasn't empty afterward. When the static cleared, he was still there, facing the camera, just standing at the top step, staring into the lens. I blinked, and the feed went black. I quit the next morning. Jenkins stuck around for another week, then called it quits too. Said the guy started showing up earlier. Now, when I go to the mall as a customer, which isn't often, I always walk the long way around. Never go near the south escalators. And I swear, even through the crowd, even with everything moving and loud and normal, that corner always feels too quiet, like something's still climbing. The last porch light. When I was a kid growing up in East Texas, we had this house down the block. Small, white, with green shutters and a porch that looked like it hadn't been painted since the 70s. Everyone called it Miss Annie's place, even though none of us had ever actually seen her. The only reason we even knew her name was from the mail. You could just barely make it out when the wind flipped the mailbox open. Annie Reeves. Miss Annie was, apparently, very old. No family, no visitors, no deliveries. And yet every night, every single night, the porch light came on. It wasn't one of those automatic sensors. You could see the switch through the front window. Someone had to flip it. And it never failed. 7:30 p.m. in the summer. 5 o'clock sharp in winter. Always. When I got older and moved back after college, the house hadn't changed. Same peeling paint, same drooping porch swing, same porch light. But Miss Annie had passed. 2 years before I came back. I asked around. The old guy who runs the post office said it was a heart thing. Quiet. Peaceful. No funeral. The county buried her. But the porch light still came on. Every night. Now, if you ask the neighbors, they'll all give you different answers. Must be on a timer, Mrs. Klinger would say. Maybe someone maintains it, our mailman offered once, like a tribute or something. But I asked the city utility rep when I ran into him by the gas station. He said no one's paid the power bill in years. Said the account was flagged inactive. Still, the light glowed. At first, it was just a weird neighborhood quirk, something you told visitors to freak them out a little. That light's haunted, we'd joke. No one lives there, but it still knows when it's dark. Then people started disappearing. Not like vanishing into thin air or anything. More like dying. Natural causes, accidents, quiet tragedies. But always, on the same day, the porch light didn't come on. The first time, it was this guy Steve, who jogged every morning like it was religion. Had a heart attack on his porch while tying his shoes. Porch light didn't come on the night before. A few weeks later, Mrs. Klinger fell down the stairs. She was 84, but she was spry as hell. Still drove. Still mowed her own lawn. Again, porch light had stayed dark. I started noticing the pattern, started keeping track. I took photos, kept a little log in my phone. Lit. Everyone's fine. Dark equals someone's gone. It didn't happen every night. But every time the bulb stayed dark, by morning, a death notice was spreading. I told my friend Marcus about it. He laughed. Dude, you're just linking stuff, 'cause you want it to mean something. Okay, I said. Come by tomorrow night. Let's watch it together. We sat in my truck across the street. 6-pack between us, headlights off. 6:59. Nothing. 7 o'clock. Still dark. At 7:04, Marcus said, See? Just a busted bulb, man. At 7:06, my phone buzzed. Group chat. Did y'all hear about Caleb? Died in a car wreck an hour ago. I showed Marcus the screen. He didn't say anything for a long time. Eventually he just said, You think it knows? That's the thing. I don't think the light causes anything. I think it reacts. Like it's connected to something else. Something underneath the surface of things. After that, I started watching it every night. Some nights it would flicker before it lit. Other nights it came on strong. But the worst was when it stayed dark and the whole street seemed to hold its breath. I thought about replacing the bulb, about breaking the fixture, but I couldn't bring myself to do it, because part of me thought, maybe if it doesn't turn on, it's not the bulb's fault. Maybe it's warning us. Last week I stayed up late writing in the kitchen. Around 2 a.m. I looked out the window. The light was still on. I remember thinking, good, everyone's okay. I went to bed. Woke up the next morning to sirens. An ambulance parked in front of my place. They carried out my neighbor, old Mr. Redmond. Heart failure in his sleep. I was confused. The light had been on all night. So that night, I checked again. And this time, I watched it carefully. 7 p.m. It blinked on, then off, then on, then nothing. Stayed dark, and suddenly I understood. It didn't fail. It was trying to stay lit. It was fighting it. Something had changed. Now I keep a lantern by the window, just in case. When the porch light doesn't come on, I light mine. I don't know why, but it feels like someone should try. Because if that last porch light ever goes out for good, I'm not sure who'll be left to turn it back on. Letters from the basement. When I moved into the house on Gifford Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I didn't think much of the basement. Just a concrete cube under the stairs, low ceiling, single light bulb with a string. It smelled like damp cardboard and regret. The first letter showed up on my third day there. No envelope. Folded twice. Sitting inside my mailbox between a pizza flyer and some overdue bill from the previous tenant. The handwriting was messy. Big. Looping. Like a kid's. It started mid-sentence. I think Mom still hears me, but she won't come down anymore. It's okay. The dog stays with me now. He doesn't bark at the hole anymore. That was it. No name, no address, just those lines. I assumed it was trash. Maybe something from a neighbor's kid, or a weird art project. I tossed it. The second letter came 2 days later. Same handwriting, different tone. There's light during the day, but only if I sit on the second step. If I go lower, it's darker than sleep. I don't go past the string anymore. Now I was curious. I asked the landlord if there was a history to the house. He said no. Just a few tenants in and out. Said basements get spooky this time of year. Probably drafty. I didn't tell him about the letters. I started checking the mailbox daily. Sure enough, like clockwork, a new one would appear every couple of days. I hear them upstairs. They don't know I'm still here. I tap sometimes, just to see. I kept them in a drawer. There were 11 by the end of the month. None addressed to anyone. None signed. Then I found the 12th one inside the house, tucked under the basement door. I saw myself today, on the dryer door, but older. I think I'm forgetting how I used to look. That night, I went down there. First time since I moved in. Nothing unusual. Concrete floor, old washer and dryer, a mop bucket in the corner. But then I saw it. The step, second from the bottom, carved faintly in the wood. Stay here. I backed up. That week, no letters came. Until Sunday. This one was in a sealed envelope. In my handwriting. But I hadn't written it. Don't go back down. Not until it's gone quiet for 3 days. Not until you can't smell the wet anymore. If you do, it'll know you remember. I didn't sleep much that night. Monday, the lights flickered. Tuesday, I found the mop bucket tipped over, full of dirt, not mud, dirt. Wednesday, I smelled oranges, sharp and sudden, like someone peeled one right beside me. But there was nothing there. Thursday, no smell, no sound. The quiet the letter warned about. Friday, another envelope, on my kitchen table. You're getting too close. I checked the locks, the windows, everything still sealed. I called in sick. Spent the whole day trying to figure out where the letters came from. No cameras on the mailbox. No fingerprints on the paper. Saturday night, I dreamed of stairs and blinking lights and a voice asking, "What did you forget?" I woke up with a letter clutched in my hand. Just one word. Soon. I planned to move out. Called a realtor Sunday morning. She said she'd be by on Wednesday to start the process. Sunday evening, I opened the basement door one last time, just to look, and there it was, an envelope on the second step. I picked it up, opened it with shaking hands. Inside, in the same looping handwriting, "I remember you now. You never wrote back, but that's okay. You're finally here." Snow still falls in room 209. I took the job because I was broke and desperate. That's how I ended up working maintenance at a half-demolished hotel in Colorado Springs. The Grand Crescent used to be a luxury place back in the 50s. Shut down in the 90s after a fire gutted one of the wings. The new owners were slowly turning it into condos, one floor at a time. I was mostly there to patch drywall, help the contractors, deal with rats. It was dull work, but quiet. Peaceful even. Until January 12th. That morning, the foreman, Mitch, pulled me aside. "Don't go into 209 today," he said, not looking up from his clipboard. "Why?" Just, don't. Of course, I went in. Room 209 was on the second floor, south wing. The part of the hotel that hadn't been touched yet. All dust and faded carpet. I had to jimmy the door a little because it was warped from age. The second it creaked open, I felt it. Cold. Not winter draft cold. Not broken thermostat cold. Bone deep cold. Like walking into a freezer that had been sealed shut for years. And snow. No joke. There was snow on the floor. Thin layer. Just dusted. Like the first hour of a blizzard. And it was still falling. Right there, in the middle of the room. Drifting down, slow and quiet. I looked up. The ceiling was intact. No holes, windows sealed, no wind. But it was snowing. There was a queen-size bed in the middle of the room, sheets yellowed and thin. And standing just to the left of it, her back to me, was a woman. White dress, wet, clinging to her frame. Veil half hanging off her head. Her hair was plastered to her shoulders, like she'd just come in from the storm. I froze. "Ma'am," I said. She didn't move. I stepped back, gently pulled the door shut, and went straight back downstairs. Mitch didn't ask. Just gave me a look like, "Now you know." Later that day, I asked around. None of the crew would talk about it, but one of the older electricians, George, finally caved. "Happens every year," he said. Same date, January 12th. Since before my time. Snow starts falling in 209, and she shows up. "Who is she?" He just shrugged. "Someone who never left." I didn't sleep well that night. The next year I wasn't working there anymore, but I still lived in town. On a whim, I drove past the Crescent. It was still under renovation, but slower now. Budget issues. I parked across the street at a diner and waited. At exactly 10:17 a.m., snow began to fall in the corner window of room 209. You could see it from outside, like a snow globe. And for just a second, a figure moved behind the curtain. I came back the next year, and the one after that. Always the same, light snowfall. Same room, same silhouette. I stopped telling people. Most didn't believe me, said I was making it up. But a few nodded, like they'd heard of it before. Like it was something you weren't supposed to talk about. 5 years in, I finally looked up the hotel's history. Found a microfilm article from 1963. Bride disappears day before wedding. Last seen entering the Grand Crescent. Never found. Fiancé swore she was in room 209, but hotel staff said the room had been empty all week. Her name was Elaine Mitchell. Every January 12th, snow falls in room 209, and a woman in a soaked white dress waits. One year, I tried to get closer. I snuck in after the site had closed for the day. Climbed the stairwell. Picked the lock. Snow crunched under my boots as I stepped in. She was there again. Back to me. Always back to me. I whispered her name. Elaine. Her head tilted slightly. And I swear, just before the room went black, I heard her whisper back. I waited. I woke up in the hallway. No one believed me. I don't go back anymore. But every January 12th, I check the weather. If snow's in the forecast for Colorado Springs, I don't sleep, because I know it won't all be falling outside. You hike halfway up the ridge. I go there when I need to disappear for a bit. That week I was supposed to be working on edits for a client, but the power kept flickering. So I lit a fire, cracked a beer, and turned on the radio. Static, as expected, until midnight. Exactly midnight. I was staring into the flames when it crackled on. You shouldn't leave the door open that long, a voice said. It was my dad. Not just a voice that sounded like him. It was his voice. His exact tone, the little clipped way he used to say, shouldn't. He'd been gone 5 years. I stared at the radio. Didn't touch it. The voice continued. You're letting the heat out. Close it behind you. Then static again. I didn't sleep that night. Next day, I told myself it was a dream. Maybe I dozed off. Maybe it was a memory triggered by the fire and the quiet. But the next night, I waited. At midnight, the radio came alive. How many eggs? Just 3. I'll scramble them. You want toast? Nah. My mom and me. I recognized it instantly. A conversation from years ago, maybe middle school. Saturday morning kitchen chatter. Nothing special. Except I never recorded it. No tapes, no video, just memory. And somehow, the radio was playing it back. Every night, it continued. Always at midnight. A different memory. Sometimes long, sometimes just a snippet. The weirdest part? I couldn't always place them. Some felt familiar. Others were like overhearing a version of my life I almost remembered, but not quite. Then came the night I heard Ellie. She was my sister. Died in a car crash when I was 17. I hadn't heard her voice in over a decade, but there she was. You ever think clouds are just ghosts looking for their shadows? I cried. I didn't even remember that moment until I heard it. Then it came flooding back. Us lying on the dock, staring up at the sky. After that, I couldn't stop listening. I stayed up every night, waiting, pen in hand, scribbling every word. Midnight became church. One night, the memory wasn't mine. A woman's voice, British accent, talking about a dog named Moxie. I had no idea who she was. Then a man, laughing about spilling wine, saying, They'll never believe we did it. Strangers. I shut the radio off, pulled the batteries, unplugged it. Didn't matter. Midnight hit. It clicked on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to forget your birthday. My voice to my mother. A moment I regretted for years. And she answered, "It's okay, honey. I remembered enough for both of us." I stayed a few more days, kept listening. But it started to shift. The voices didn't sound like memories anymore. They sounded present. Alive. One night, I heard a knock. Not on the cabin door, on the radio. Then a voice. "Can you hear us now?" I haven't touched it since. It still clicks on every night at midnight. Sometimes I sit and listen from across the room. Sometimes I hide it in a cabinet, under blankets, but I can always hear it. I brought it back with me. Couldn't leave it behind. And now, even in my apartment in Portland, it plays. Different voices. Some I know. Some I wish I didn't. One step too late. I wasn't trying to summit anything dangerous, just a long solo hike in Oregon's Cascade Range. I needed to get off the grid for a few days. No phone, no noise, just boots, trail mix, and the smell of pine. The trail was well marked. Mostly clear skies, crisp air. I camped out the first night near a ridge with a view that stretched for miles. Slept like a rock. Second day, I reached the rescue hut near the crest of Old Pine Ridge. It's a weather shelter mostly. One-room log structure with a cot, first aid kit, and a little guest book inside a steel case, where hikers leave notes or check in. Just tradition. I always read through them. Flipped past a few pages. Someone thanking the ranger team, another note warning about icy steps. Then I found a fresh page with today's date. Or at least, I thought it was today. October 17th. Only, my watch said it was October 16th. Weird. Even weirder, it was in my handwriting. Same slanted E's, same way I loop my capital G. It said, "Made it here, but something's wrong. Don't go past the summit. It's not a storm. I'm waiting. Just in case." I stared at the paper for a long time. It looked like I'd written it. But I hadn't. I swear I hadn't. I checked my journal. The one I keep in my pack. Same pen. Same ink. I flipped through every page. Nothing like this note. But it matched me. Every detail. I tried to laugh it off. Maybe someone else wrote it and it just looked like mine. Maybe I'd signed something before coffee kicked in, but it sat in my brain all afternoon. At night the wind picked up. Hard. Cold. The kind that gets under your clothes and makes your teeth hurt. I built a fire near the hut and stayed up listening. I swore I heard something out past the trees. Not animals, not branches. Breathing. Deep, tired breathing. The next morning, I checked the guest book again. Another entry. October 18th, my handwriting again. Didn't listen. Still here. Don't let it get you too. I hadn't written it. I wasn't losing time. I double-checked everything. My phone was off, but my GPS watch was fine. Still said it was the 17th, but the book was one day ahead. And I was the only person on that trail. That's when I decided to head back. No summit, no pushing it. I packed fast, didn't eat, didn't drink, just moved. A few miles down, I found something else. A second hut. Identical to the first, but there shouldn't be one here. Same construction, same little steel box. I opened the guest book. Only one entry. October 19th. My handwriting. You're late. I waited too long. I'm still here, but I'm not alone anymore. Something knocked on the wall behind me. Just once. I ran. Didn't stop for hours. By the time I reached the trailhead, the sun was almost gone. My legs were shaking. Back in town, I checked the date. October 20th. I'd lost 3 days, or gained them. I don't know. I burned my trail journal. I can still remember the way those pages looked, the way my handwriting curled up at the end of each sentence, like it was afraid to finish. And sometimes, late, just before sleep, I hear breathing. Slow, steady, almost like it's waiting for me to write something down. The woman at table 7. I used to go to this coffee shop on Charleston Boulevard in Las Vegas. Kind of a half retro, half hipster place. Mismatched furniture, indie playlists, people staring at laptops they weren't really working on. I went there mostly for the peace. That and the cinnamon rolls. Every Tuesday, I'd sit at table 4. Close to the outlet, decent view of the window. I'd get a black coffee, sometimes a bagel, and work through client briefs or zoning applications or whatever my week threw at me. And every Tuesday, she'd be there. Table 7. She'd show up around 9:15. Always alone. Dark green sweater. Same one, faded like it had been washed too many times. Black hair pulled back into a low knot. No makeup, no phone, no laptop. Just sat there, hands folded, eyes locked on me. She never ordered anything. At first, I figured she was waiting on someone. Maybe a friend running late. But she never looked around. Never checked the door. She just stared. Straight at me. I told myself I was imagining it. That she was just zoning out. I even moved tables one week. Didn't matter. She followed with her eyes. Not subtle. I asked the barista about her. Jess, she knew everyone. Oh, her. Yeah, she's here a lot. Doesn't talk. But tips. Weird, huh? She ever say her name? Jess shook her head. Nope. Just points at the tip jar. I think she likes you, though. Funny, except not. Week 4, I waved at her. Nothing. Week 5, I nodded. Still nothing. Week 6, I walked over, sat at the edge of her table. Hey, you good? She blinked slowly, tilted her head like she was listening for something far away. Then she stood up, walked out, and didn't come back the rest of the morning. I felt like I'd kicked a dog. Next week she was back. Same clothes, same table, same stare. I stopped trying to break the pattern. I started texting my buddy Eric about it. Creepy coffee girl was back again. She stared through me today. I think she's levitating. He replied with memes and theories. Maybe she's a ghost. Maybe I'm in a Truman Show situation. Maybe I had a twin I didn't know about, and she was mourning him. Funny stuff until week 9. Because that Tuesday, she didn't show up. And on her table, folded in half, was a piece of yellow paper. I knew it was for me before I touched it. My name was on the top. First and last. Not scribbled. Written in neat cursive. Under it, June 3rd, 1994. Fell off the monkey bars, broke your left wrist. August 12th, 1999. Got your first bike. Blue, with a busted reflector. May 22nd, 2006. Told Miss Crenshaw you wanted to be a fireman. She said you weren't brave enough. It kept going. Lines and lines of small, tidy handwriting. Every memory. Every scraped knee. Every bad dream. Every lie I told my parents. Stuff no one else could possibly know. At the bottom, I only ever wanted to remember you. I checked the security camera footage that night. Jess let me. She thought it was romantic. Said I had a secret admirer. We pulled up the file for that Tuesday morning. At 9:14, Table 7 was empty. At 9:15, the paper appeared. No one walked by. No one put it down. Just one frame it was blank, and the next, it was there. I haven't seen her since. But last week, I moved apartments. New place, clean slate. First night, I found a sticky note on the inside of my front door. Just 3 words. Table 4. Again. I haven't gone back to the coffee shop, but every Tuesday at 9:15, I feel it. Like someone's waiting for me to remember something I never meant to forge. You promised forever. We broke it off 6 months ago. Cleanish. No shouting matches, no broken glass. Just silence. Long, stretched out silences that used to mean comfort, but started to feel like suffocation. Her name was Lena. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, living in a 2-bedroom place in Dallas that always smelled faintly like coffee grounds and her shampoo. When we split, she took most of her things. Left the key in a ceramic bowl on the counter. The same one where she used to toss her sunglasses or little notes with grocery reminders. I didn't ask for closure, neither did she. It was over. I stayed in the apartment. It was easier, familiar, even though every room still looked like it expected her to walk back in. Then, last month, I got a letter. No stamp, no return address, just my name on the front, in Lena's handwriting. I knew it was hers. There was a curl to the top of her lowercase f that I always teased her about. Inside was 1 sentence. Forever. You said it, remember? I stared at it for a long time, thinking maybe it was a prank or something she wrote before leaving that got delayed in delivery. Then I tossed it. That night, I found her toothbrush in the holder. Not just a similar one, her toothbrush. Purple handle, frayed bristles. I knew because she used to chew the end of it when she was thinking. Same bite marks, same wear. I live alone, I checked everywhere. Trash, cabinets. Nothing explained how it got there. And the one I bought after she left? Gone. The next day, I noticed Spotify had resurrected a playlist we'd made together. It was gone before. Deleted. I'm sure of it. But there it was. The one we cooked to. Fleetwood Mac, Maggie Rogers. That weird jazz cover of Toxic she was obsessed with. It started playing on its own that night. Speaker blinked to life, like it had been told to. That was when I started to feel uneasy. The next morning, the fridge was organized. Not just cleaner. Organized exactly like how she used to do it. Top shelf, dairy, middle leftovers, bottom condiments, all rotated label forward. Fruit in the tray lined with a paper towel. That was her thing, the paper towel. Kept the moisture from pooling. I hadn't been shopping in a week. I'd been eating takeout. I checked the door cam. No movement. No one in or out. Thursday morning, the yellow blanket was on the couch. The one she used for movie nights. Smelled faintly like cinnamon and fabric softener. I didn't own it anymore. That night, the bedroom smelled like her perfume. Faint but sharp. That citrus vanilla mix she always dabbed on her wrists. I texted her. Is this a joke? Are you coming back to the apartment? Please don't. No reply. Next morning, I drove to her sister's house. She opened the door, looked half asleep. Is Lena here? She blinked. You didn't hear? My mouth went dry. Hear what? Lena's gone. Accident out near Austin. Last week. The room spun. I thanked her, I think, and got back in the car. Drove around for an hour before I could face going home. The apartment was too quiet. I walked into the bedroom, and everything was reset. Bed made, her pillow on the left side, her favorite water glass on the nightstand. And right there, placed, like it had never been gone. The ring box, it wasn't empty. Inside was my original apartment key, the one I gave her, the one she never returned. And beneath it, a note, same handwriting. You said forever, so I stayed. I moved out the next morning, told the landlord I needed to break the lease, gave some excuse about a job in Houston. He didn't ask questions. I packed light, just clothes, laptop, some kitchen stuff. Left the couch, the bed, everything that felt too shared. Found a 1-bedroom in a high-rise downtown, 5th floor, secure entry, new walls, new carpet, no memories. For a while it worked, until the ring box showed up again. I found it on my bed after work. Same velvet cover, same tiny dent on the bottom from where it got jammed in the dresser once. Inside, the apartment key. The one from the old place. Not a copy, that key. And no, I hadn't brought it with me. I threw it out. Took it down the hallway to the trash chute and watched it drop. Next morning, it was in my kitchen drawer, sitting neatly next to the bottle opener. I checked the door logs. My new building has a digital system. Every entry time is recorded. Nothing. No visitors, no access granted. So I started locking my bedroom door at night. Silly, I know, but it made me feel like I had some control. Didn't matter. I'd wake up and things would be off, not haunted movie off, just subtle. My phone charger coiled neatly instead of tangled. Toothpaste squeezed from the bottom, not the middle. Coffee brewed and still warm, even though I hadn't touched the machine. And the notes. At first they were small, sticky notes on the fridge. Don't forget your 10 a.m. Refill your prescription. Trash day is Thursday now. Her handwriting. Slanted, clean. The dot on the I always slightly to the left. They got more personal after that. Eat something decent. You look tired. You haven't called your mom. She misses you. Stop sleeping on the couch. I didn't show anyone. What would I say? Hey, my dead ex is apparently back and reorganizing my groceries. But I did call Eric. Old college buddy. The kind who believes in facts and firmware. He came by, stayed the night on the couch. We drank beer, watched garbage TV. He said I looked like crap and probably needed sleep more than an exorcist. That night, he heard it too. 3:17 a.m. or soft humming from the bathroom. Not a radio, not upstairs neighbors. A voice. He didn't say anything at first, just left early the next morning. I got a text a few hours later. Bro, you need to move, or see someone, or both. I started recording the nights after that. Set my phone on the nightstand, mic running. Played back the audio every morning. The first few nights, nothing. Then, on a Tuesday, I caught it. The bathroom light clicks on. Water runs for 3 seconds. Then, tapping, like a toothbrush against porcelain. Then the hum. Low, steady, familiar. The song she sang when she couldn't sleep. That one from the playlist, followed by one word, whispered right into the mic. Home. I stopped trying to get rid of the ring box. It always came back. Closet shelf, under the bed, in the fridge once. I'd open a drawer and there it would be. Velvet worn soft, key inside, just waiting. I didn't touch it anymore. Didn't move it. Didn't talk to it. Just let it be. The notes kept coming. You've been drinking too much soda. Stretch more. Your back's acting up. We need curtains in the bedroom. We. She was speaking like nothing had changed, like we'd never broken up, like the crash never happened, like the only thing out of place was me. The humming got clearer. I didn't need to record it anymore. I could hear it plainly every night at 3:17. Some nights, she'd hum through the whole song. Other nights, just a few bars before silence settled in, like a blanket. Then she started showing up. Not fully, just pieces. I'd be brushing my teeth and catch a flash in the mirror. Dark hair behind me. A shoulder. The curve of her jaw. Once I turned and caught her sitting on the bed, facing away. I blinked and she was gone, but the imprint on the comforter stayed. I started sleeping less, eating less. Eric begged me to crash at his place. I almost said yes, but when I opened my overnight bag, her sweater was folded on top of my clothes. I never packed it. I stayed. That Friday night, I came home late, exhausted, left the lights off, dropped my bag, and walked straight into the dark bedroom. She was there, standing by the window, her outline clear in the streetlight glow, still wearing that same oversized sweater, still barefoot, still watching me. I didn't speak, neither did she. I turned on the light. Nothing. I sat down on the edge of the bed and stared at the ring box. Opened it. Inside, this time, was a note, folded small. I'm not angry, I'm just waiting. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch and stared at the bedroom door, waiting for it to open. It never did. The next morning I made coffee. There were 2 mugs in the sink, mine and hers, with the little chip on the rim she always ignored. I poured mine, left the other. Then I whispered, "You have to let me go." Nothing happened, just the hum of the fridge. But that night, no humming, no light flicking on, no notes in the morning, just quiet. It lasted a week. Then yesterday, I found something under my pillow. Not the ring box, not a note. The engagement ring. Her ring, polished, clean, waiting. And now, every night, I lie in bed and wonder if she stopped because I asked, or because she knows I'll come back to her eventually. She's always online. It started 2 weeks after the funeral. Her account was still up. I hadn't touched it. Felt weird to delete anything. The bio, the photos, even the last post. Still there, like she might log in tomorrow and fix the grammar in her caption, like she always did. But then I saw the green dot. Online. I figured it was a glitch. Maybe someone in her family logged in. Maybe the system just hadn't updated. But it kept happening. Every night around 11:30, the little green light would pop up next to her name. I didn't want to be that guy, but I messaged her. "Hey, I know this is probably your sister or something, but it's messing with me. Can you log out?" Left it at that. No response. Next night, online again. Then I got a reply. "Sorry, habit. No name, no profile pic change." Still her face, still her tone, still Lena. I stared at the screen for a full minute before typing back. "Who is this?" No reply. Not that night. The next day, my Explore feed changed. Photos of old hiking spots we'd visited together. The lake in Illinois where she fell in trying to skip stones. A blurry selfie I didn't remember taking, except I was in it. And she was laughing in the background. It wasn't posted by me, or her, or anyone I knew. I checked the metadata. Upload time, 3 minutes after I'd opened her message. That night, she was online again. "Do you remember our trip in 2019? You got sunburned so bad." I didn't reply. She messaged again. "You looked cute, even though you complained the whole time." I replied, "Is this a bot?" Nothing. Until a new post showed up in her story. It was a photo of my apartment door, taken from the hallway. Timestamp, 2 minutes ago. I opened the door with my heart pounding. Nothing in the hallway. No footsteps. No noise. Just the sound of my upstairs neighbor's TV faintly bleeding through the ceiling. I stepped out, looked both ways. Empty. The photo in her story was still up. Same angle I'd seen when I peeked through the peephole seconds ago. I messaged again. "What do you want?" No answer. I reported the account. Said it was hacked. Said it was impersonating someone who'd passed. Got the standard response. "We'll review it." Next day, I opened my app and it was gone. Account not found. I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt, like I'd buried her again. That night, I had trouble sleeping. Kept checking the hallway, listening for anything. Around 2 a.m., I gave up and scrolled my phone in bed. That's when I noticed it. In my saved images folder. A photo I didn't take. Me, asleep, in my bed. Last night. My back turned, blanket kicked half off, and the faintest shadow behind the curtain. I didn't save that. No one else should have had access. I checked my security camera. Nothing. Footage clean. But the angle from the photo? It was from inside. The apartment. I called Eric. "Tell me you didn't do something really sick." He sounded groggy. "What the hell are you talking about?" "Lena's account. It posted a picture of my door, and now there's a photo of me sleeping. I didn't take it." Long pause. "You still have her login? Number, and it's gone now, the whole account." "Dude, that's not possible. I was just looking at it." "What?" "Yeah. She posted something 5 minutes ago. A song, that cover of Toxic you guys were into." I checked again. Now it was back. Same name. Same profile picture. A new post. "Remember this?" Attached was an audio clip. Her voice. Singing softly. Just like she used to when she thought I was asleep. I closed the app, hard, turned off my phone. But the next morning, when I opened my laptop to check my email, her face was the desktop background, one I never set, and the caption in the corner, "You're finally paying attention again." I wiped the drive, reinstalled everything, factory reset my phone, even bought a new number, new SIM, new account. No backups, started fresh. For a few days, it worked. No notifications, no ghost photos, no late night singing. I even slept through the night for the first time in a week, until I opened my inbox. There it was. Not a message, not a spam promo, just a draft. Unsaved, unopened, but written out. "I'm still here. You don't have to run." And it was signed L. I hadn't typed it. I hadn't even logged into that account since the reset. That night, my screens lit up at 3:12 a.m. My laptop, tablet, even the TV. Every screen in the apartment lit up white, then dark, then white again, and slowly, text faded in. "Stop trying to erase me. We lived here. I still do." The lights in the kitchen flickered. Not the usual power surge flicker, like Morse code. One long, two short. A pause. Again. I unplugged the router, pulled every cord out of the wall, sat in the middle of the room with my phone off and the lights out. And still, her voice, not from a speaker, from behind me. Low, gentle, familiar. "You only loved me when I was quiet, but I never stopped watching." I didn't turn around. I couldn't. Not because I was scared, but because I knew exactly what I'd see. She wasn't a ghost. She was a memory with nowhere else to go. A version of her that lived through every saved message, every shared password, every playlist we never deleted. I didn't need to invite her back. I never stopped logging in. The next morning, all the photos on my phone had changed. All of them. Every picture, even from years before we met, now had her in the background. Sometimes smiling. Sometimes watching. Sometimes looking directly into the camera. I tried deleting them. They came back. And now, she's not just online at 11:30 p.m. She's always online. Always. The Smile program. It started small, like everything weird does. A guy at the coffee shop smiled at me. Big deal, right? Except it was off. Too perfect. Like he'd practiced in a mirror for hours. Symmetrical wide, teeth showing just enough. And the eyes? Empty. Like his brain had unplugged. And only the smile was left on autopilot. Whatever. I ignored it. Figured he was trying too hard to be friendly. But then my boss smiled the exact same way. Same head tilt, same blink timing, same tone of voice when he said, "Today's a good day, isn't it?" I laughed it off. Said, "Sure, man," and got on with my morning emails. Then the lady at the deli, the delivery driver, the guy jogging past my apartment. "Today's a good day, isn't it?" Always the same. Same smile, same words, every single time. By Thursday, I'd stopped answering. Just nodded or walked away. Friday, I got cornered. At the crosswalk outside my office, 4 people, strangers, stood around me. 2 in front, 2 behind. They all turned at once. "Today's a good day, isn't it?" It wasn't a question. It was a statement. A directive. I didn't respond. Just stared at them until the walk light blinked and I bolted across the street. At home, I closed every blind. Deadbolted the door. Sat on the couch in the dark, scrolling through old photos just to remind myself life used to be normal. That's when I noticed the first change. Every photo with people in it, random street shots, crowds at concerts, group selfies, had someone in the background. Smiling, not a grin, not a candid. That same damn smile. Staring straight at the camera. I checked the metadata. Some of these were years old. I hadn't noticed before. I deleted the album. The next day they were back. Not just the files, printed versions. On my kitchen table. I live alone. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered out of reflex. "Today's a good day, isn't it?" I hung up. Turned off my phone. Packed a bag. Drove 3 hours to my brother's place upstate. When I got there, he smiled at me. Not a happy smile. Not even a tired one. Just that same smile. "Hey, you made it," he said. "Today's a good day, isn't it?" I backed out, slammed the car door, drove until I ran out of gas. Spent the night in the back seat, locked in, keys in hand, radio off. Every now and then, I'd see headlights pass. Slow, like they were scanning for something. I think it was me. At dawn, I walked to the nearest diner, asked to use the phone. The waitress smiled. "Today's a good day, isn't it?" I ran. Tried calling old friends. No one picked up. Checked my email. Hundreds of messages. Subject lines. "Today's a good day." All blank inside. Just a signature. The Smile program. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it spreads. But I've seen enough movies to know this isn't just some social experiment. Something's rewriting people. Not just what they say, but who they are, like a patch update for humans. I've stopped talking to strangers, stopped looking people in the eye, stopped answering the door. But last night, I caught myself in the bathroom mirror, smiling. And I swear to God, I wasn't trying to. Borrowed voice, it started with a commercial. Just some generic ad for a vacation rental site. Mountains, lakes, a couple laughing around a fire pit. Nothing special. Except the voiceover. That was me. Not someone who sounded like me. It was me. My cadence, my tone, the way I dropped the G at the end of Garen's. I'd never recorded it, never did any voiceover work. But there it was, narrating a damn ad for log cabins. I thought maybe it was a weird glitch, some AI scrape gone wrong. Deep fake stuff. Creepy, yeah, but not supernatural. Then I checked my old voicemails, one from my mom, 3 years ago. I remembered it. She was yelling at me about not calling her back. But now, her voice was gone, replaced with mine. Hey, it's me. Just checking in. Hope you're doing okay. Call me. My voice. Talking to me. I listened to others. College buddy, ex-girlfriend, boss, all replaced. All my voice. Different tones, emotions, personalities, but still me. Then came the recordings I made myself. A podcast episode from last year. I used to review horror movies for fun. In the original, I trashed this found footage flick for being cliché. Now, I praised it like it was a masterpiece. The sentences were structured the same. The transitions matched. But the opinions were different. Rewritten. My backup drives were no help. Everything had been replaced. I asked my roommate, Wes, if he noticed anything. He said I'd always been into that movie. Even showed it to him. Nah, dude. You said it was underrated. Remember? We watched it on your projector. I don't have a projector. I started feeling watched, not in the usual paranoid way, but internally. Like my thoughts were being auditioned for replacement. I stopped speaking out loud when I didn't have to. Whispered when I was alone. Avoided leaving voice messages, turned off all smart assistants. But things kept slipping. The morning alarm on my phone, my voice now, saying, "Time to rise and shine," in this chirpy tone I would never use. I went to the corner store and the guy behind the register gave me my change while casually saying, "You sounded great on that cooking tutorial, by the way." I've never cooked anything more complicated than boxed mac and cheese. I looked it up. Found the video. A faceless demo with my voice explaining how to make some fancy reduction sauce. It had millions of views. And the comments, "Love this guy's energy. His voice is so calming. He should narrate audiobooks." Someone, something was building a version of me. Public, popular, polished. And it wasn't me. I tried to post a video online to clear things up, explain what was happening. I recorded it on an old digital camera. No mic, no network. Uploaded it from a library computer. When I checked it later, the video had changed. I was still in it. Same lighting, same shirt. But the words, different. I was talking about how fulfilling it was to help people with their culinary dreams. Smiling like a damn lifestyle guru. I smashed the camera. Wes stopped talking to me. Said I was acting weird. That I wasn't myself. He was right in a way. The last straw came yesterday. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Picked it up out of habit. "Hey," the voice said. It was mine. "Hey," I answered. "You really should let go." Of what? Control. It's exhausting, isn't it? Let me handle things. You'll feel so much better. Who the hell are you? I'm the better you. Click. I don't sleep anymore. Don't talk unless I have to. I keep a notebook now. Paper, pen, nothing digital. I don't even read it back. I think it knows when I do. Last night, I heard my voice again. Not on the phone, not online. From my closet. It said, "You'll come around." Everyone does. I think I'm losing, and I think I sound great doing it. The ones who watch. It started about 3 weeks ago. I live in a tiny town in Arizona, one of those places where you wave to your neighbors, even if you don't know their names, and you always know when someone gets a new truck. It's quiet, dry, a little too hot, and up until recently, kind of boring. Which I liked. The first night, I thought it was a trick of the light. I was brushing my teeth, looked up at the mirror, and saw movement in the window behind me. I turned fast, expecting maybe a dog or a stray cat on the porch. But it was my neighbor, just standing there. Linda, middle-aged, wears big hats, always smells like lavender. She was on her porch, but not sitting in her usual chair. She was standing, hands at her sides, facing my window, not waving, not smiling, just watching. I gave a half-awkward wave. Nothing. She didn't blink, didn't react. The next morning she acted normal, waved at me while watering her cactus, said good morning like she hadn't been full-on staring into my house at 11:30 p.m. Okay, maybe she had insomnia. Maybe she didn't even know I saw her. But it didn't stop, and it wasn't just her. A couple nights later, I saw a different neighbor, Don, the guy who jogs shirtless and never says hi. He was standing across the street, same posture, just staring. Then it was the mailman. Then the barista from the only coffee shop in town. Always at night, always silent. I started sleeping with the blinds closed. Then I stopped sleeping. I tried telling Wes about it. He works at the gas station off Route 9. Thinks I'm paranoid already. When I said people were watching me, he shrugged and said, "Small towns, man. Everybody's nosy." But this wasn't nosy. Nosy is peeking through curtains, asking weird questions, hovering at the grocery store. This was different. This was direct. There was no curiosity in their faces, no concern, just this presence, like they were waiting for something. The worst part? It started happening. Inside. One night, I was washing dishes. My back window faces a narrow alley. There's a mirror on the wall above the sink. Not my idea, came with the place. I looked up, and in the reflection, I saw someone standing just outside the glass. Close. Closer than the porch. When I turned, there was no one there. But the alley smelled like perfume, like lavender. I stopped checking the mirror after that. I bought cameras, motion lights. Nothing helped. The footage showed nothing. The lights never triggered. But I saw them. One night I cracked. I stormed over to Linda's house and knocked hard. She answered immediately, like she'd been standing right there. "Were you just at my house?" I asked. She smiled, too wide. "No, dear, but it's good you're starting to notice." "Notice what?" "Them. Us." She closed the door. I backed away, heartbeat in my ears. When I got home, someone was sitting on my porch swing, not moving, just staring at the door. I turned around and walked until sunrise. Didn't even take my keys. Now, I can feel it all the time. The attention. Even when I'm alone. especially then. The walls seem warmer. The floor creaks like it's breathing. This morning, I caught myself staring out the window for 10 minutes. Not at anything. Just watching. Like them. Like us. Inside the routine, it started small. A snooze button that didn't work. A bus that arrived 10 seconds early. A missed call that came right as I reached for my phone. Nothing major. Nothing worth freaking out about. But it kept happening. My alarm went off at exactly 7 a.m. every morning. Sharp. Not 6:59. Not 7:01. My phone used to be unreliable. Sometimes it glitched, sometimes it lagged. Now, flawless, like someone was standing over it with a stopwatch. At first, it felt convenient, even nice. My toast never burned. My coffee brewed just as I walked into the kitchen. The bus always pulled up right as I got to the stop. I joked to friends that the universe had finally decided to cut me a break. Then I tried sleeping in. Not by much, just 15 minutes. I didn't set an alarm. I figured, hey, I deserve a lazy Sunday. At 7 a.m. on the dot, my upstairs neighbor dropped something heavy. The thud jolted me awake. A car alarm followed. Then a baby cried somewhere down the hall. It was like the world would not let me sleep. So I went with it. Got up, brushed my teeth, caught the bus, which arrived early. Again, I started keeping notes, every detail, every pattern. Breakfast, toast, egg, black coffee, same thing every day. Bus driver, same guy, never speaks. Office elevator, always stops on 3 before hitting 7. Lunch, 12 p.m. exactly. Stomach growls 10 seconds prior. At first, I thought it was me, that I was falling into a routine and my brain was filling in the blanks. But I started testing it, leaving the apartment early, taking a different street, changing my order at the deli. Each time, something stopped me. Left early, bus was delayed. Different street, closed for construction. New lunch spot, fire inspection. And always, someone would call me back. You forgot your keys. We missed you at your usual place. Everything okay today? Friendly, polite, but wrong. I called in sick one day. Stayed in bed. No alarms. No movement. At 9 a.m., my landlord knocked. Said there was a plumbing inspection. Said he'd need to check the pipes. There was nothing wrong with the pipes. He looked around too long. Asked if I was feeling all right. Smiled a little too wide. Just checking in, he said. I locked the door after he left. Pulled the curtains. Didn't move. Around lunchtime, I got a text from an unknown number. You skipped lunch? Everything okay? I threw my phone in the sink, left it running. The next day, everything was normal. Too normal. I went along with the routine, let it move me like a conveyor belt. Woke up at 7. Coffee at 7:10. Bus at 8 o'clock. Desk at 8:45. Lunch at 12. I didn't fight it. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else to do. Then I noticed James was gone. James worked 2 desks over. Always had loud phone calls. Used to whistle after lunch. No one mentioned him. His desk was clean. His nameplate gone. I asked HR about him. James? I don't think we have a James here. I checked old emails. Nothing. Photos? He wasn't in any of them. But I remember him. He used to bring those weird seaweed snacks. I think he tried to change his routine. I think he failed. Today, I skipped the bus, walked 5 miles in the heat, got to work an hour late. No one noticed. Not even my boss. Except for the receptionist. She smiled when I walked in. "You're adapting," she said. Then she offered me a bottle of water, same brand I always drink. I asked her what was going on. She didn't answer, just smiled. Tonight, I'm not going home. I'm not going to bed at 10. I'm not brushing my teeth at 9:45 or setting an alarm. I don't know what happens when you break the cycle completely. But I think James tried, and I think James is gone. I know what you'll do. It started as a dumb joke. "I bet you're going to get the ham sandwich," Nate said, pointing at the cafeteria menu. "You always do." I did. But that wasn't a shock. I mean, I do always get the ham sandwich. It's a habit. Cheap, fast, not totally disgusting. The next day, we're walking to the parking lot after work, and Nate goes, "You're going to drop your keys." I laugh, and sure enough, I fumble them out of my jacket. 2 for 2, he says, smirking. A week in, it's not funny anymore. "You're going to check your phone in about 5 seconds, he says, while we're in line for coffee. "And then pretend like you didn't just read that message." I stare at him. I don't have a message. My phone buzzes, one new notification, group text. He just grins. Doesn't even look at his phone. Doesn't even look at me. It's not just Nate. My barista finishes my order before I say anything. The receptionist hands me my mail before I give her my name. I get a call from my mom and she says, "I knew you were going to call me tonight." Except, she called me. I try to throw them off, start taking different routes home, change my lunch spot, start writing notes on paper instead of typing. It doesn't help. People finish my sentences. A cashier at the gas station says, "Pump 3, right?" When I hadn't even opened my mouth, my dentist says, "You're going to cancel next week's appointment, aren't you?" And I was. But how did he know? It's not like they're guessing. It's like they already knew. Like they're reading from a script. I stopped texting. Stopped posting online. Went off the grid as much as I could without quitting everything. Didn't matter. A guy on the bus asked how my dog was doing. I don't own a dog. Not anymore. I started whispering my thoughts out loud at home, just to see if anyone would react. Sometimes I'd say something random, like, "I'm gonna wear red socks tomorrow." Next morning, there's a new pair of red socks folded on my doorstep. I asked Nate, "How do you know?" He shrugged. "We just do." Who's we? Does it matter? You're not gonna do anything about it. He was right. I didn't. I tried to. I packed a bag, got in my car. No GPS, no calls, just drive. I made it 10 miles before I hit construction. A flagger waved me down and said, "Back to town. You left the stove on?" I had. Somehow. I don't even remember turning it on. That night, I threw out every smart device I owned. Anything that could track me, record me, listen to me. I even took the batteries out of the smoke detector. Didn't change a thing. My coworker looked at me the next morning and said, "Nice try." I don't think it's tech. I don't think it's surveillance. It's them. Whoever they are. Maybe they're not even people. Maybe they're just the ones who know. Know what I'm going to say. Know what I'm going to do. Know who I am. And the worst part? I think I'm starting to like it. Not having to choose. Not having to decide. Just letting it happen. Because at least if they know what I'm going to do, then maybe I don't have to be responsible for any of it. Echo people. It started with small things. I'd say something dumb, like, "I'm starving." And then 10 seconds later, someone next to me, coworker, barista, whoever, would say the same thing. Same tone. Same words. I'd laugh it off. Coincidences happen, right? But it kept happening. I'd tap my foot during a meeting, and a second later, 3 people around the room would start tapping too. I'd scratch my nose, and a stranger across the street would mirror it like we were synced. At first, it felt funny, like I was setting trends without trying. But then it turned weird, like last Tuesday. I texted my brother, "You up?" at 1:13 a.m. I swear to God, I saw my neighbor, who I barely talked to, pull out his phone at 1:14 and type something. 1 minute later, I got a reply. "You up?" from my brother. But he said he never sent it. The timing got tighter, closer, more precise. I tried testing it. In the break room at work, I opened a random app I never use, notes, and typed pineapple hat. I didn't speak it, didn't look at anyone. Just typed. 5 minutes later, I overheard 2 guys from accounting in the hallway talking about how they should start a hat company. Like something tropical, maybe pineapples. That's when I stopped smiling about it. I started recording myself. Voice notes, video logs, writing weird thoughts in locked journals. Stuff only I'd know. But then, pieces of it showed up in other people. A lyric I made up appeared in someone's Instagram story. A joke I wrote down ended up in a late-night set from a small-time comedian I'd never met. Same delivery, same punchline. It wasn't coincidence anymore. And then came the day it switched. I was walking through the grocery store, thinking I'd grab eggs and maybe some ramen. Just thinking. I hadn't said anything yet. Then a guy behind me muttered, "Eggs and ramen again." I froze, turned around. He looked right at me like he'd been caught cheating on a test. Then he smiled, shrugged, walked off. After that, it wasn't me first anymore. I'd open the fridge and my roommate would say, "Don't bother, we're out of milk," before I could ask. I'd decide to go for a run, and the weather app would alert me to lace up. I didn't even have it set for notifications. It's like the world was finishing my sentences before I even thought them through. Like I wasn't the signal anymore, just the echo. The worst was yesterday. I sat down to write all this out, tried to map it, tried to make sense of it. I looked up research, forums, weird Reddit threads. Nothing felt real anymore. I started to wonder, am I hallucinating? Slipping? Then I got a call. Unknown number. Voice on the other end said, "You're doing well. Keep going." "Who is this?" "You'll see," the voice replied. And I swear, it was my voice. Not similar, not close, mine. The same slight rasp, same cadence. I checked my phone history. No record of the call. That's when I noticed the mirror. I was alone, middle of the night. The bathroom light was off, but moonlight hit just right. My reflection blinked a half second too slow, then smiled. Not at the same time as me, not a reflection, a response. Now, when I speak, I wait. I listen. Because somewhere out there, something's listening too. Watching. Timing. Repeating. But it's not following me anymore. I think I'm following it. Offline hours? You ever notice how dead things get around here between 2 and 4 in the afternoon? Like, not just quiet, dead. Like the town just gives up for 2 hours and waits for the sun to pass. I used to think it was just the heat. Arizona afternoons can feel like you're walking through soup. The kind that burns. People nap. ACs hum. Dogs hide in shadows. That kind of vibe. But then I started working from home, and I really noticed it. The silence isn't just outside. It creeps in. No phone pings, no traffic, no lawnmowers or kids or barking. Even my neighbor, who's always yelling at his TV, shuts up for exactly 2 hours. Then, at 4:01, the world coughs back to life. The first honk, the AC kicking louder, a dog barking like it's been holding it in. It's like hitting on pause on a movie. I wouldn't have thought too hard about it, except for what happened last Thursday. I was on a Zoom call with my boss. Nothing exciting. Budget talk. The call cut out at 2 o'clock sharp. Just froze. I thought my Wi-Fi dropped, but no error message came up. Everything else blinked out too. My laptop screen went gray. Phone died. Clock stopped ticking. Even weirder, the fan I keep on my desk kept spinning. Slower, like syrup. But spinning. I stepped outside. The heat hit like usual, but it was stiller. No wind, no bugs, no sound. I walked down the block, and every car was parked. Every person I passed was mid-motion. Frozen, but not like statues. Like mannequins mid-stride. I got close to one, a woman I sorta know from the diner. Her eyes were open. Not blinking. Not seeing. Just stuck. I waved a hand. Nothing. Said her name. Nothing. I ran home. Inside, everything was still off. Except me. I was still moving. And I wasn't alone. At 2:17, the front door opened. No knock. No sound. A guy walked in. Tall, pale, wearing something like a janitor uniform, but all gray. His eyes were white. No pupils. And he looked at me like I was the mess he had to clean up. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. He walked past me like I wasn't there. Went into the living room. Pulled out a little device, waved it around like a scanner, and frowned. Then he looked right at me. "You're not supposed to be active," he said. Voice flat, like a voicemail robot. I don't know what's happening. You weren't selected. Selected for what? He tilted his head, clicked the device, and suddenly I couldn't move. Not paralyzed. More like disconnected. Like my limbs weren't mine. He walked up close, examined my face. "We'll adjust." Then everything went black. When I woke up, it was 4:06, sun lower, a sea buzzing, phone full of messages. No one remembers anything. They act like nothing happened. My boss thought I ghosted the call. The woman from the diner didn't even know what I was talking about. But it's not over. Because now, every day at 1:59, I feel it coming, like a curtain dropping. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see people moving in the silence, not the frozen ones, the ones like me. Someone else's schedule. It started with a calendar notification I didn't set. Meet with H. No location, no last name. Just the letter. At 3:45 p.m. I deleted it, thinking it was a sync error or some prank app glitch. My phone had been acting weird lately. A little slow, sometimes flickering when I unlocked it. I blamed an update. But the next morning it was back. Same entry. Same time. And not just that one. There was another event. Don't take the usual route. It was marked for 8:10 a.m. I laughed. It felt like some alternate universe productivity app was trying to run my life. I ignored it. Took my usual route to work. There was an accident on the corner of 5th and Oak. 5-minute delay. Nothing big. But still. That night, another entry appeared. Call from private number. Do not answer. I answered. Silence. Then breathing. Then a voice I didn't recognize whispered my name. The next day, the calendar was full. Back-to-back entries. Eat later than usual. Say yes to Julie. Don't wear blue. I thought about a virus, a stalker, maybe some AI playing God. I tried resetting the phone. Factory reset? Nothing worked. The calendar came back blank, then refilled itself over the next hour. Same appointments, same tone. Not suggestions, orders. And they were always right. One entry said, "Run 5 minutes late." I ignored it and left on time. I got stuck in an elevator at work, alone, for 20 minutes. Another one, "Check your back door." It was unlocked. I started following them. At first it felt like a joke, then a safety precaution, then a necessity. Like these entries knew more than I did, like they were protecting me from something I couldn't see, until the tone changed. Skip your mom's call. Delete the message. Don't help him. These weren't just about my day anymore. They were about people, about pulling away, shutting out, making myself small. Then came the entry I can't stop thinking about. This is the week you disappear. I tried everything. New phone, no sync, different calendar app. But it's not the app. It's not even the phone. It's in me now. Every time I wake up, there's something waiting, etched behind my eyelids. Instructions. And part of me, a growing part, wants to follow them. Because maybe if I do, I'll understand what I'm becoming, or who wrote this schedule in the first place. The correction office. It started with a letter. Just a plain white envelope, sitting on my kitchen table when I got back from work. No stamp, no return address. Just my name on the front in block letters. Inside, a single sheet of paper. At the top it read, "Your recent statements have been flagged for correction." Below that was a list, an actual bulleted list of things I had apparently said, along with approved versions of those same sentences. The first one caught my eye. Original. I hate how cold this office gets. Correction. I prefer a warmer working environment. What the hell? I thought maybe it was a prank. Maybe someone at work trying to be funny. But the rest of the list wasn't funny. It was personal. Original. I'm not sure I want kids. Correction. I'm open to the idea of parenting in the future. Original. Sometimes I feel really alone. Correction. I value my independence. Who the hell knew I'd said these things? Some were from texts, others from late-night phone calls. One was straight from my journal. I knew that because of the exact wording. Something I'd scribbled at 2 a.m. months ago. I checked my phone. No signs of a hack. My cloud storage looked normal. Social media untouched. Nothing to explain it. I crumpled the letter and tossed it. That was Thursday. On Friday, the corrections started showing up in real life. My old tweet about how coffee makes me anxious? Gone. Replaced with, caffeine gives me a useful boost. My roommate swore I never told her I wanted to quit my job. Even though I remembered the conversation, the wine we were drinking, the damn hoodie I was wearing when I said it. By Saturday, my own memories started to feel edited. I'd try to remember something I said, and my brain would offer up the corrected version first. I had to fight to recall the real one. On Sunday, another envelope appeared. Same style, same message. Additional corrections pending. Compliance is appreciated. This time, the letter came with a small laminated card. It had a barcode and a logo. 3 horizontal lines inside a circle. Underneath, a name I'd never heard before. The correction office. I didn't tell anyone. Who the hell would believe me? I started leaving notes for myself. Physical ones. On paper. I wrote down what I really said. How I really felt. I hid them in books. Taped them under drawers. Just to remind myself later. But the letters kept coming. More corrections. More neutralized, sterilized versions of my life. I tried saying nothing for a whole day. Just silence. But when I woke up the next morning, there was a new note. Passive silence may be interpreted as non-compliance. I thought about leaving town, driving until I hit another state. But I'd read a correction the week before. Travel without prior notification may result in misunderstanding. I didn't remember writing that. Monday night, I heard a voice in my apartment. Not on a speaker. Not from outside. It was my voice. Saying things I hadn't said. In my tone, my rhythm. I'm grateful for the structure I've been given. My thoughts are clearer now. I trust the process. I smashed the mirror in the bathroom. Not sure why. Just needed something to break. The next day, the mirror was intact. Like it never happened. Now, I'm not sure which thoughts are mine. I dream in their language. I wake up with phrases in my head that don't feel like me. I saw a man at the bus stop this morning holding the same card. I tried to talk to him. He smiled. Like too much. Too polished. I appreciate your commitment to clarity, he said. I didn't respond. I don't know what I would have said, or what would have been corrected. It's 6:03 p.m. I just got another envelope. This one's red, and it says, "Our registrar's final revision. We thank you for your cooperation." Everyone remembers wrong. You ever walk into a room and feel like you've been there before, but not in a deja vu way? More like you know exactly what should be where, but everything's off. It started with my old high school. I went back to visit my hometown in Illinois for a weekend. Nothing special, just some family stuff. One afternoon, I had some time to kill, so I drove past my old school. Thought maybe I'd stop by, see if anything had changed. It wasn't there. I mean, the building was there, sure, but the name was different. It wasn't Roosevelt High anymore. The sign out front said McKinley Regional Academy. And when I parked and peeked through the fence, the colors were wrong. Wrong mascot, wrong mural on the gym wall, wrong everything. I thought maybe they just rebranded or something. You know, new name, new funding, whatever. I asked my mom about it that night over dinner. "What do you mean, Roosevelt?" she said. "You went to McKinley. You always did." I laughed. She didn't. No, seriously. Remember the blue and gold jackets? The Rough Riders? She gave me that look she used to give me when I'd say something sarcastic at the wrong moment. It's always been maroon and silver. You were a McKinley Hawk, same as your sister. I called my sister. She said the same thing. I thought maybe I was misremembering. Maybe I'd just gotten confused, and my brain filled in the blanks with something that never existed. But I still had my yearbook. At least I thought I did. When I got back home, I pulled it from the storage bin in my closet. Same black cover, gold trim, but when I flipped it open, maroon and silver. The Hawk mascot. McKinley class of 2011 across the first page. My picture was there, my name, but everything else was wrong. I started checking other things. Photo albums, old blog posts, even my college application essay, which mentioned my time on the Roosevelt debate team. But the scanned PDF now said McKinley. The photos with friends, same people, same smiles, but the Letterman jackets were maroon. Every trace of Roosevelt High had been wiped. I tried reaching out to old classmates. Most didn't respond. The ones who did? Yeah, McKinley was weird, huh? Like it was always that way. I found one guy, Danny Clark. We weren't close, but we'd had AP history together. He messaged me back late at night. Said, "Dude, thank God. I thought I was the only one." I remember Roosevelt, too. We planned a call for the next day. He never showed. When I tried messaging him again, the chat was gone, like we'd never spoken. I still had the notification on my phone, but when I tapped it, it just opened to a blank conversation. I started keeping a notebook, writing everything down the second I noticed something wrong. My dad's middle name changing from Alan to Edward. A pet I apparently never had. An old scar I couldn't explain suddenly gone from my knee. I went to a therapist, told her I thought I was losing my grip. She nodded through everything. Real calm, real quiet. At the end, she handed me a pamphlet. It said, "Cognitive Dissonance in Individuals Experiencing Memory Conflation." I told her I wasn't confusing anything. I knew what I remembered. She smiled. Sometimes it's easier to believe we're right than to accept we're alone. The next day, her office was closed. No listing online. No record of our appointment. Last night, I found a new envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a single photo. Me standing in front of Roosevelt High. Except someone had drawn a thick red X over my face. On the back, in block letters, "Corrections complete." If you made it to the end, you're officially a legend. Seriously, thank you so much. If you didn't fall asleep, hit that like button and subscribe. See you in the next video.